Hello everybody and welcome back to my Royal Reader. My name is Cici and today we're going to be looking at the top 10 rated books on Goodreads that I have read. Anyway, let's get to it. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of Sarah J Maas and probably like a lot of Harry Potter or something or other, but we're not going to count Harry Potter. I have it up on my list and I was right, there's a lot of Sarah J Maas, but surprisingly couple of other ones thrown in there, which I was surprised about. But let's get started. So starting off with the first one, so at 4.49, so almost a complete 5-star, we have A Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This was a bit of a surprise. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I probably am due for a reread so I can continue on with the rest of the series. I just hit myself in the face with this. The issue that I had with this was that it was too long between me reading the Shadow and Bone trilogy and then reading this one, even though I know you're not really supposed to care too much about the two of them interconnecting and things like that. But if you don't know what this is about, let me try and remember for you. This is a fantasy heist novel set in the same sort of world as what Shadow and Bone is. We have a found family trope where we have 6 people who sort of band together under the leadership of a man called Kaz Brecker, and there is this really bad drug that is being put to the public, I think, and Kaz was tasked with stopping it or something along those lines, and so he gets his band of people together and they go and stop it. I think. I can't exactly remember. It's been a while, but I would say that this is probably a good spot for it. I bet you the other one's probably got a higher rating than that, but... Alright, coming in at number 9, we have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I gave this one a 3-star, and Goodreads has it as 4.50, so that's a bit different compared to what I've given it. But I think I can understand the appeal. I'm not much of a sci-fi reader, but I do enjoy reading sci-fi. First sci-fi that I picked up in a while, so I was still trying to get used to everything. In this we follow our main character Spencer, who is struggling with life, let's say. Her father was part of the flight crews that help protect their planet from invading aliens, and during one of the biggest attacks he fled and was labeled a traitor and a deserter, and Spencer's family were just dubbed with that as well, and so they were kind of outcast, and so Spencer has grown up having that confliction against her entire life until she decides to try and enter into the flight academy so she can become a pilot along with her father, and everybody makes it extremely difficult for her to try and get in because they do not want her in there, and things go... Next after that is one that I am super happy to see. I do not have a physical copy with me because I don't own one, but I do eventually want to own one. And that's going to be Wundersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. So Goodreads has this at a 4.50, which is basically a 5 stars. I gave it a 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. Definitely my favourite middle grade series to date. This is the second book, so I can't go into too much detail, but the first one follows Morrigan Crow, who was a 13, I think she's 13? She's either 11 or 13, and she is a cursed child, so that means that she is cursed to die on her birthday. And during a ceremony called the something, I have forgotten it, a lot of like the most influential people in town can bet on these children to sort of like take them as apprentices and stuff, and Morrigan is there and she's not expecting to be bet on at all, but a man called Jupiter North comes in and bets on her and gets her and takes her away to the wondrous land of Nevermore, and it's there where she is enlisted into the Wondrous Society. But before she can really be inducted into the society, she has to complete a couple of trials and tests and stuff to see if that she can actually be a part of it. It's so magical and whimsical and wonderful, and it actually made me cry at some points. I just love this book so much, and I definitely recommend it. So I wholeheartedly agree that that should be higher than what it is. Next, we have another middle grade, and that's going to be Percy Jackson. This one is the third. No, that's the wrong book. I grabbed the wrong book. Somebody put my Percy Jacksons in the wrong order. Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian. It's the last book in the Percy Jackson series, and I fully agree with the fact that this has a 4.52 stars. I think it should probably have a 5 out of 5. Nonetheless, I agree wholeheartedly. This book, like, ruined me. This is before I read Sarah J Maas and stuff like that. I just remember sobbing so much with this book and being so surprised and shocked and scared and everything else. So I agree. I am probably due for a reread actually, so I do eventually want to do that. So Percy Jackson follows our main character Percy Jackson, who is a 13-year-old boy who discovers that he's actually the son of Poseidon and is labeled a demigod and is sent to Camp Half-Blood to help keep him safe because monsters and everything can go after him. And while he's there, Zeus's thunderbolt gets stolen, and he's blamed for it, which is kind of weird because he's like, I only just found out that I had this. Why would I do that? And yeah, it's a crazy time. We love Uncle Rick. Next on the list is House of Sky and Breath. This one is at 4.54, so we jumped straight up from 5.2 to 5.4. I only gave this a 3 stars. I was a little bit bored throughout the entire thing, but I can understand why people would have given this 5 stars. The ending... I only just finished this recently, so the ending is still in my mind and it's still there and is still sending me through things. But I just felt like there was a lot of things in here that I did like and that I didn't like. And ultimately, if you don't know what Crescent City is about, this is book 2. Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, follows our main character Bryce Quinlan. She is asked by the military policing system within the world to assist in a murder mystery case because she has links to the suspected killer, and because of this being so dangerous and bad for Bryce, who is a half-fae, they task Hunt Athalar, who is a fallen angel, to be her bodyguard. That is a very, 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 very basic synopsis of the series, but it's a Sarah J Maas book, so you know that that is not the only plot that is happening. So the next two go in tandem together. They have the exact same score, and that's going to be Queen of Shadows and Empire of Storms. I gave both of these 4 out of 5 stars. I think on my reread I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, and originally it was 5. This one I have not reread it, but the first time I read it, apparently I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and this was actually the last book that I think I ever read back in 2016 because it put me in the biggest reading slump. I stopped reading for 4 years because of this book, and because of the damage that it did to me. Am I going to be reading the damage again soon? Yes. Am I prepared for it? No. So if you don't know what Throne of Glass is about, we have our main character, Selena Sardorthian, who is a very well-known, renowned assassin, and she is stuck in prison because of her crimes. One day she is brought out of prison and given the opportunity to compete in the King's Championship, where she will be, if she wins, labeled the King's Champion, where she has to do his bidding for a little bit, and then after a year she is free of all of her debts and all of her treasons and everything like that. The championship games, I guess you could call it, is obviously filled with a bunch of other people who are like criminals and assassins and things like that. But as the games are happening, some of the competitors are dying, so Selena sort of takes it upon herself to sort of look into what is happening and discovers that there is a much bigger plot at play. It's a Sarah J Maas book. Just read it, basically. Next on the list at 4.61, we have, I don't think it's going to be any surprise, another Sarah J Maas book. Obviously, A Court of Mist and Fury, everybody's goddamn favorite Sarah J Maas book. It's the second book in A Court of Mist. No, it is the second book in A Court of Thorns and Roses series. We all love and know it. A Court of Thorns and Roses is sort of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So Feyre goes into the forest to have a look for food for her family. She sees a wolf and decides to shoot it and kill it. Turns out that wolf was actually a Fey person, and the High Lord of the Spring Court comes and takes Feyre back to the Spring Court so that she can live out her sentence for killing that Fey at the Spring Court. That is the basic premises of it. There's also the curse and everything like that she has to break and things like that, because it's obviously the Beauty and the Beast thing. Yeah, this is her second book where things change drastically, and yes, on my reread, I still gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's my baby. Lastly, we have at 4.65, The Way of Kings, Part 1 by Brandon Sanderson. This is part 1 of, no, yes, this is the Stormlight Archive Book 1, Part 1, because good old Brandon Sanderson writes chunky, thick ass books. I think the book completely with part 1, with part 2 is over 1,000 pages. This is almost 600 pages, so he writes very big books. I ended up giving this one a 3 out of 5 stars because it's so complex that my brain could not keep up in certain points, and it took me a while to read it. From what I can recall, this follows a large cast of characters. I think mainly we follow 3 or 2 of them. Our main one is Kaladin, I think his name is. You follow him. The very basic beginning to this book, or at least this series anyway, is that we have 2 kingdoms who join together to sign a treaty, and on the night of the treaty signing, one of the kingdoms actually assassinated the king of the other kingdom, and it caused this massive war to break out, and it sort of put things obviously in ruin and disarray and everything else. There is also things to do with knights and magic armor and magic swords, and then we have a royal person, and then we have a scholar. Dalinar, that's it. Dalinar is connected to the king who was murdered, and then we have a scholar. I liked it. I'm definitely going to be continuing it on. I think if I reread it and tabbed it, I would like it better, and I would probably make more sense in my brain. So those were all the books that I have that are the highest rated on the Goodreads average rating that I have read anyway. Let me know what your thoughts were down below and if you agree with any of them. If you'd like to see more videos, then do be sure to give us a thumbs up and comment down below. If you'd like to see more videos, then do be sure to hit the subscribe button, as well as follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and everything else that's listed down below in the comments. No, in the description box. That's where it belongs. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in another video later on.